Hello, my name is Megan, and I am a health and wellness coach with a background as a physical therapist, and I am passionate about serving other individuals with POTS and chronic fatigue to help them figure out how to rebuild their energy and thrive again in their lives. So, I have 5 big tips that I typically share with clients as I work with them to help them with managing their headaches, and I'm going to share those with you in this video. I'd like to preface it with 2 things. First of all, it's important to understand why you're having these headaches. Typically with POTS, we have changes in our autonomic nervous system that affect how well the blood flow that pools in our lower half when we change position gets pumped back up to our brain. It stays pooled down in our lower half and can lead to muscle cramping in our chest and our shoulders and our neck that can cause trigger points, leading to all sorts of not so fun symptomatic headaches, but it can also be related to our brain not getting sufficient blood flow and oxygen and starting to send out pain signals. So learning to respect the signals that your body is sending you and interpret them and learn how to shift them is a big piece of learning to manage POTS and to thrive. Second thing I want to point out is that although I have a background as a physical therapist and have lived with POTS for almost a decade myself, anything that I share in this video is for educational purposes only, and it's very important for you to check with your doctor to see if it is safe and applicable for you to try these particular tips. So, all of that said, one of the biggest tips for those that have POTS, and even people that don't have POTS, is ask yourself, how well hydrated are you? Have you had an adequate intake of fluid and the good old electrolytes for that day? This has actually been one of the most helpful pieces for most of the individuals that I work with. When you have trouble with blood volume, it's very important to increase your blood volume through fluid and sodium intake, or salt. Salt is about 40% sodium, but the other electrolytes are also very important, especially when it comes to muscle pain and tightness, like magnesium and potassium. So getting a good electrolyte mix, I'm a fan of liquid IV or LMNT. There's all sorts of ones out there, so find one that works best for your body and agrees with your GI system and gives you the benefits that you need. You can also get quite a bit through your food. And if necessary, you could consider supplementation, but it's very important to check with your doctor and your pharmacist to make sure if you start adding in supplements that it doesn't interact with anything else that you are taking or doing. The second thing that is often forgotten about, but I feel is very important, is keeping up your food intake and being mindful of what you're eating. Oftentimes, those of us with POTS are encouraged to eat foods that have a high salt content, which automatically points us in the direction of salty processed foods like chips and crackers. Nuts really aren't that bad, but anyway, more processed foods can, if they have a lot of additives in them, give you headaches. And especially if you also struggle with histamine intolerance or mast cell activation syndrome, if you're intaking a lot of those foods with additives or potential things that you could react to, that can give you a headache or potentially magnify the headache you already have from your blood pooling in your lower half. So be mindful, stick to whole foods. I'm a huge fan of telling my clients, just stick to the perimeter of the grocery store if you can. Try to have a few quick snacks like salted apples and nut butter, or a chicken leg or something like that you can put protein on that can keep your salt levels up, it can keep your blood sugar steady, and you will not react to. The next tip that is also quite commonly mentioned for management of POTS but can actually help your headaches quite a bit is incorporating some form of movement before you change position. So if you're lying down and you're going to sit up, you could do something like a snow angel with your arms going back and forth and your legs like you would do in the snow. doing heel slides, doing ankle pumps, doing something that's going to be close to a whole body movement within your tolerance to start pumping the blood throughout your system and not having it just settle. So when you do sit back up, your blood isn't as pooled in your lower half. You got your heart pumping, you got your nervous system turned on, so that you're not going to have as many orthostatic symptoms that can lead to your headache. Some of my other fun ones that I like to do are like marching or punches, or doing something resistive where you're either pushing your legs together to contract the muscles in your thighs, in your calves, or even pulling your hands apart, kind of like you're doing a ballet move. That can all be helpful to help pump that blood that's pooling in your legs and your abdomen back up to your heart and to your brain to reduce those orthostatic symptoms. On the note of exercise, I actually consider breathing as an exercise, and I mention it quite often in my videos because it can be so powerful to rewire the autonomic nervous system that become kind of wonky when you have POTS. So just the impact of breathing due to the movement of your diaphragm when you breathe in and out, and the movement of your rib cage as well, can create kind of like this chest turbine and a pump that can help pump that blood back up too. And that breathing delivers that very much needed oxygen to your brain and your muscles. Breathing can also help you shift into more of a rest and repair state that can help reduce pain signals that are going to your brain and shift you into a more calm, relaxed state. And last but not least, one of my go-tos that I typically explain to clients early on that are dealing with headaches is tapping into different somatic practices and self-massage techniques to combat a headache, especially if they are coming from trigger points that are settling in your upper trap region on your shoulders, or in the muscle that's called the sternocleidomastoid muscle right here on each side of the neck, or in muscles at the back of your head, in your suboccipitals, or on the sides of your head, the temporalis muscle. All those can be easily released on your own through using your fingers is the most gentle one. Typically, massage tools and such you want to do on bigger muscles. You can definitely do those on your upper traps, but all of these muscles can refer into the regions that you would associate with your headache and make that headache either worse or actually cause it. So I'm gonna just share a couple of my favorite release techniques on this video that will hopefully give you some direction into where you can go to get more relief. So to help release the temporalis muscle, you're just gently massaging each side of your head. This is also a part of a vagal nerve massage for some. You can do a self-release of your sternocleidomastoid muscle and do a little bit of a fascial release by starting at the bump behind each ear. That's your mastoid process, and coming down on the sides of your neck along the muscle itself to your collarbone a few times. This is also a vagus nerve massage, and depending upon how much pressure and how you pace your breathing can be a nice way to just calm and turn down those pain signals that have become amplified. To work a little bit on your upper traps, you can do a nice grab of each side. This is actually an acupressure point that can help release headaches as well. You can hold there and do a few deep breaths, or you can just do a nice slide on either side. I like to hold it and do a little bit of side neck stretching, depending upon where that tightness is coming from. And for the back of your head, there is an actual acupressure point to do, but if you have ever worked with a physical therapist, you may have heard the term suboccipital release. Some people are taught to use tennis balls or some other somewhat giving device to put back there, but you can do your thumbs and just put it right there at the base of your skull and do a little bit of nice, gentle massage, or hold on a point and kind of do a fan on the back of your head. And again, breathing in and out to help pump that blood, but to send calming signals to your nervous system as you do it. I like to add in these last two as I tend to carry quite a bit of headaches in my eye socket area. That can actually be due to some referrals from the base of your skull area, but it can also be from your jaw. So doing a nice gentle release along the jaw, you can go even slower than I am, coming up over the muscles in your cheeks, up to your jawbone. And you can, if you want to, turn a little bit into a more of a somatic practice, go up to the top of your forehead. So going through that a few times. Oftentimes I find some tight knots right here in the muscles on the sides of my cheek, the masseter muscle, and do a little bit more kind of focused massage there. And I even settle on my jaw area as well, as I know that I have some temporomandibular joint issues, thanks to hypermobility that I also personally have. And I know many of you out there with POTS also may have. I hope you found these tips for headache relief with POTS helpful. Please drop a comment below the video as for what your favorite tip was, and if you're interested in more personalized support to help you learn how to manage your triggers and reduce your symptoms such as headaches and get back to thriving in your life living with POTS, I would love to talk to you. Please reach out to me either by dropping a comment below the video or sending me an email at megan.varner@guidetoresilience.com.